Hello my bookworms, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney and today I have a pretty obnoxious book haul for you. If you happen to be new here, please do consider subscribing down below. I put out new videos every single week that I'm sure you don't want to miss. And of course, you can always find my links to my social media down in the description as well. Okay, so this book haul. Let's talk about it. The books that I'm going to start out with are books that I have received in the mail from you wonderful subscribers and a lot of my really good friends. And then I'm going to slowly move into a haul that I got recently from Barnes & Noble. One day, Caleb just said, hey, I kind of want to go find a book. And I was like, okay. But I'm only allowing myself one book. That obviously didn't happen. I walked out of the bookstore that day with 8 books. So what are boundaries? I don't know. And then the remaining amount of books that we will talk about are ones that I got either from Amazon or just other local indie online bookstores. So yeah, let's just jump right on into it. I don't know why I have a runny nose. Okay, so which one do I want to start with? I think I will start with the 2 that Molly from Mind of Molly gifted me because she's a God-given angel and I just love her. I love her so much. So the first one was A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire from Jennifer L. Armentrout, and it is the sequel to From Blood and Ash. So I was actually really excited that she sent me this because from what I hear, this series seems like one that like as soon as you finish one book, you're gonna need to dive right into the second book. So even though I haven't started From Blood and Ash yet, now I have this. So like it's gonna be okay. So I mean with this series, if you don't know, it is basically like a fantasy romance, I believe. So basically in this series, we follow Poppy, who lives a life of maiden and solitary. She's never to be touched, never to be looked upon, and never to be spoken to. And she basically gets this like guard or bodyguard, I guess, named Hawk. And it says, destiny and duty become entangled with desire and need. Thinking of reading this makes me sweat a little bit because I'm very new to romance. I really haven't even read a romance book. Like I just started reading my first romance book from a arc that I got from NetGalley. You really have to sit behind me? Okay, what do you have to say? Weirdo. But that arc that I got from NetGalley, I'm really enjoying it. I think it gets pretty steamy, but from my understanding, this series is very steamy. So I will probably do a reading vlog for it because I don't know what I'm in for. But thank you, Molly, for sending me, I think you sent me both of these. You definitely sent me both of these. Thank you. The next book that she sent me was The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. It's only fitting that Avi jumped up here right when I was talking about the books that you got me, Molly, since that she loves you so much. We know this. She's crawling in my lap. Avi, she gave your book a kiss. You see that wet mark? But basically this is a horror novel centered around a tale of revenge, cultural identity, and the cost of breaking from tradition in this latest novel from whatever. I didn't know when to stop. This book follows our American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on retribution, these childhood friends are helpless as the creature and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent, vengeful way. I like that it's kind of a shorter book, and also, I mean, I just want to read more from indigenous authors about the indigenous culture. I was really excited that I got this in the mail, so thank you again. Okay, the next one I was also really excited about. It is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I love the Illuminae files with my whole heart, and knowing that like they have another book together, the same 2 authors, I don't even know if I really realized it until I got it physically in the mail that I was looking who it's by, and I like almost shit because I was so excited. But I do love that this book still has a little bit of that mixed media aspect like they did in the Illuminae files. I don't know anything about it other than I loved how they wrote the Illuminae files and the fact that, like I said, okay, Abby, that it has some mixed media in it, but now it is also in like a novel, more of a traditional novel setting. I'm really excited to try it out. And I don't know if it is a duology or more than just 2 books, but I know that Aurora Burning is the second book. So, I mean, I love a good series, and I'm just so excited to have this on my shelf and have it as an option. And I totally forgot to say who it's from. It was from Nikki from Books Nonsense, and this came out of the blue. It was just, hey, I love your channel. Hope you enjoy this series as much as I do. Merry Christmas. It made my day. I opened it after a really hard day at work. Every day is hard at work. What am I kidding? But I opened it after a day at work and it made my day. So thank you so, so much. The next 2 books that I got in the mail were from the same person, so it was very generous and very over the top, but thank you so much. These are both from Melissa Cabrera, and the first one is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and it is just one of my favorite covers ever. I just think that it's so adorable. I know nothing about it, not one thing. And the next one that she sent me was Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman. I am not doing well. This one was put on my radar from Noelle over at Noelle Gallagher. You know, everyone knows Noelle. She's fantastic. This is a book about a romance that blossoms between an adolescent boy and a guest at his parents' cliffside mansion on the Italian Riviera. And apparently it wrecks Noelle's life every time that she reads it. So I will save this for a time that I am looking to feel something, looking to have a good cry. And that is actually the same with the next book that I received from Caitlin, and that is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I have Circe. It is somewhere over here. It might have taken it down. I have it somewhere in this pile of room of books. That made sense. This is The Song of Achilles. And I don't know much about it. I know that it has Greek mythology, and I don't know if it is like a retelling or not, but it says, a tale of gods and goddesses, kings and queens, immortal fame, and the human heart. And I hear that it is a tearjerker. You feel a lot of things when reading it, so I'm excited. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we are moving into the Barnes & Noble book haul. So we will talk about those 8 books really quick that I got when I said that I could only allow myself 1. So let's talk about 8. The first one is just kind of like a small little cute one that if you watched my November wrap up, I believe, I talked about this poetry collection that I got as an ARC on NetGalley, and that is called September Love by Lang Leave. And I mentioned that if I ever saw it or if I ever found it elsewhere, like out in the world, in the wild, that I would want to buy it because I really loved this collection of poetry so much. So when we were out at Barnes & Noble and Caleb and I walked over to the poetry section, I saw this sitting like front and center and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like, it just made me so happy because I'm like, oh, I got that, I read that, I rated that, gave it a 5. And so it was just really cool to, like, you know, see it out in the world. So I had to buy it. There wasn't an option. It's just such a strong book of poetry that's mixed with like actual like verse poetry, and then there's like small essays or like stream of consciousness writing. It was just so good, okay? If you are in whatever way, shape, or form interested in poetry, I would definitely recommend checking this collection out because it's beautiful. It was really good. Okay, the next one is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour, and this cover, I mean, just look at it. It is absolutely beautiful. I know that I got it for Molly for just like a random gift like we do every so often. I just sent her this book randomly and I just loved how it looked. I love what it's about, and it's short. Like you need some short books. A lot of the books that I have and that I want to read are big chunkers, but you gotta break it up every now and then. You know, sometimes you need that quick gratification of like, I finished a book. Quickly, the first like line of the synopsis is, you go through life thinking there's so much you need until you leave with only your phone, your wallet, and a picture of your mother. And it is considered poetic and gorgeously written, a beautiful, devastating piece of art. Like, that is it. Okay, so remember how I said that there were 8 books that I got? There are, but one of them I'm not going to talk about today because I'm doing a themed second book haul and I didn't realize that this book fit the theme of the other book haul that I want to do. So I'm just going to put it over here in the pile to be talked about later. So stick around for another book haul soon. Gotta keep you on your toes somehow. The next book that I got at Barnes & Noble was one of my anticipated releases of this year, so it was really exciting to again see it out in the open, and that is Under Shifting Stars by Alexandra Latos. Again, I just think the cover is really cute, and in this book I know we follow a pair of twins named Audrey and Clara, and they were always each other's best friends, but they grew apart when their brother died, and Clara blamed Audrey for the accident. And this book touches on some topics like figuring out your gender identity, and I want to say that it has autistic rep too, because it mentions that Audrey is tired of being seen different from her neurotypical peers. This book sounds really good. It feels like it would be a pretty quick read, and I'm starting to realize that I really like stories when they have a good family dynamic as well as it's well written, so I'm excited to try this author and this title out. Okay, this next book is the reason that I started spiraling, okay? I saw this book cover and I was like, oh, I hate the other cover of this book, and I know that if I had this cover of the book, I might be more inclined to pick it up because I've heard great things about it. So I bought it. And that is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. And it is just really, really pretty. I really love this cover so much. I really hate the other cover, the one of just like the big violin. I just don't like it. And the synopsis on the back is super, super short, so I'll just read it really quick. It says, August Flynn wants to be human. Kate Harker wants to be ruthless. Their souls are in danger. Their city is divided. And Kate and August, the only two who can see both sides, are the only ones who can save it. But how do you decide to be a hero or a villain when it's so hard to tell which is which? And I think obviously it has something to do with music and the fact that there's a violin on the cover. This lighting in here is not great. Better? Yeah, a little bit. Okay. But oh, good. This page is absolutely bent to hell. Okay. This seems to be a trend with Victoria Schwab's books, because the next one that I'm going to talk about is Vicious by V.E. Schwab that I got from Barnes & Noble. And look at this. I didn't realize it until I got home, but this back cover, you see it? It's like coming off. I was so upset. So we're gonna do some book surgery right now. I got some super glue on standby, and we're gonna try to super glue that back cover back on the back cover. Turn cap until clicking sound stops. Oh. Oh, okay. It shoots out pretty readily. Okay, we got a line of super glue. We're just gonna, ow, that is sticky. Super glue is super sticky. Crazy how that works, huh? How super glue is super gluey. Well, hot dog, it worked. Now I have super glue on my fingers. That's never coming off. Never. It worked! You could still see the little, you know, kind of like bend or whatever, but that adds character. It's fine. It's fine, because now it just won't come off, and that's all I care about. But this is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This book I got purely because it is the next series by V.E. Schwab that I want to read, since I read the Darker Shade of Magic series right here, and I loved it, so I am going through her work. You know, I want to read other things that she's written because I love her writing. And this one is about two college roommates named Victor and Eli, and apparently when they're doing their thesis, academic moves to experimental, things go horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. And it has like supernatural elements to it. And yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of bones on the cover, so I'm assuming that death is involved, and I'm into it. Let's give it a shot. Okay, the next one I'm really excited about. I was really excited that I saw it because I can't remember if I saw it on Meg's channel from Meg with Books or somewhere else, but I think it was Meg. Not sure. Moving on. It is The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. And this cover, again, it's just beautiful. Look at all those these colors. It was just like, it's the vibe. It's just beautiful. And it's a really nice size. It's like my favorite size of a kind of a book in general, I guess, like around 400 pages. It's like on the longer side, but it's still concise. You know what I mean? And this one says, a murder on the high seas, a detective duo, a demon who may or may not exist. A quote from someone who's read it said, The Devil in the Dark Water is a mind-bending, gender-bending, intricate, vivid, intelligent, and with one of the most gorgeously grisly casts of characters ever. An absolute Raz-Twizzler of a novel. Raz-Twizzler. I am going to use that in my everyday life from here on out. Raz-Twizzler. What the fuck? I love that. Aw, look at the inside of this book. Can you see it? Yeah, you can. Look at that. What? That's adorable. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be like a murder mystery on the seas with some like demon aspect with gender-bending, mind-bending elements. Like, it sounds like a Raz-Twizzler of a time, am I right? Oh god, I hate myself. Okay, the next book that I got is this beauty. Look at those edges. Dune by Frank Herbert. I know that I have this one over here, but it's the mass market paperback version, and I just hate the size of this book. It's like thin this way, and so it's like super, super thick. I just know that I wouldn't have a great time reading it, I think. And I am a hoe for sprayed edges. So when I saw this sitting there on the shelf, I couldn't back away from it. I couldn't say no. So I did it, and I bought it, and here we are. I am very excited to read it. I know that I've told you guys that I'm going to be buddy reading things with Caleb in the past, but we really are going to buddy read this book. I promise. We're gonna read this book together before we watch the movie, whenever that comes out, because it's been pushed back. I think it's October of next year, I think, give or take, not sure. But yeah, I mean, this book is like, it's classic now, you know? The fact that it is like the beautiful, perfect edition of it makes me more excited to read it. And ooh, the inside of the dust jacket is really beautiful. The inside of the spine is, and on the front, it says, "Fear is the mind killer," on like this embossment. It's just really, really pretty. Okay. I don't even think that I could tell you much about what this book is about because I don't know. But I know it was like a book that was like a staple in this genre, the sci-fi fantasy type thing. And it was like written in what, 1965. I know this book was like way ahead of its time whenever it was published. And now they're making it into a movie, so we're gonna read it. Okay, the rest of the books that we're talking about are going to be ones that I bought for myself. I purchased from either local bookstores, local online stores, or Amazon, and let's just go. So these first two really cute little short novels that I got go hand in hand because they are in a series together, as you know. It is The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Ning Vo, and the other one is the sequel to it, which is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. And these covers, this is just a haul of great covers. Look at these. Look at them. It's stunning. The world is doing something right. Am I wrong? But, so this is the sequel, and this is the original, like the first book in the series, and in it, our main character is a young royal from the north who is sent south for a political marriage, basically. And then there is a character named Rabbit who befriends the emperor's lonely new wife, our main character, and gets more than she bargained for. The text in here is pretty big. It seems like it's gonna be a pretty quick read, and then this one as well. There's just something about these books, they just look really aesthetically beautiful, and the story itself also sounds super intriguing to me. Ooh, and two of my favorite authors have blurbs on the back. One of them is Seanan McGuire, and another one is R.F. Kuang. So I mean, they're winners. I'm really excited for them. The next one that I'm going to talk about, I am very excited about for many reasons. Not really many reasons, but I bought it for a secret TBR that I'm doing, but also because Erin from Booked and Busy loved this book, loved this series so far, and I am very excited to pick it up because it has dragons in it. Woo! It is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This paperback is just a really great one. Opens nicely, closes nicely, has that, you know, that flop sound, you know? And I know that it's like a war story with dragons. And it says, a world caught in an eternal war, one young man will become his people's only hope for survival. And that's all I know. Oh, it's just, this book was made for me. Was it not? Oh. My neighbors are vacuuming. I live in a duplex, if you didn't know. So we share walls, and they're vacuuming. So if you hear a vacuum, ignore it. The next book that I got was a pre-order. It came not too long ago on the release date, and that is A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. I just finished Reaper at the Gates yesterday, and let me tell you, that book was a trip. It was so good, and I am so excited to pick up A Sky Beyond the Storm, because now I have to know how it ends. There was just so many advancements in the story in Reaper at the Gates and so many plot twists. The next one that I got, don't know anything about it, but I saw it on Kat's page from Paperback Dreams, and it is Luster, a novel by Raven Leilani. And this, again, this cover, can we chat about it? It is just beautiful. Like, who gave this book permission to be this beautiful. I don't know. But again, it's short. I love how many short books I'm getting. Makes me happy. They're so cute. The catchphrase of like the top of the book, it says, "No one wants what no one wants." And how do we even know what we want? How do we know we're ready to take it? And then like it goes through the whole synopsis, but I'm gonna go down to the last paragraph to just read like an overview per se. Irresistibly unruly and strikingly beautiful, razor sharp and slyly comic, sexually charged and utterly absorbing, Ravenly Lanny's Luster is a portrait of a young woman trying to make sense of her life, her hunger, her anger, in a tumultuous era. It is also a haunting, aching depiction of how hard it is to believe in your own talent and of the unexpected influences that bring us into ourselves. Beautiful. The next one that I got is Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker, which is also Shauna McGuire. I think that she writes under different pen names. And this is a companion novel to Middle Game, I believe. And I loved Middle Game. But yeah, again, this cover is also really, really beautiful. I think that it is the story that the story in Middle Game talks about, if that makes sense. If you've read Middle Game, then you would understand, and I'm really excited about it. I think that it would be nice to kind of be in that mindset in this world again. Okay, the next one is a romance. I don't know who I am. It is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. And this one I got purely for a secret TBR that I'm doing, and that's all I'm saying on it. But I think that this is like enemies to lovers, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I don't care enough to look into it right now, to be completely honest. But it's a romance story, and from what I hear from many people, it's really good. It's steamy, and they've really enjoyed it. So I am hoping that I do as well, considering I am now accumulating romance books that I haven't picked up yet, but I will. Okay, there's two more, and that's it, just two. This next one, I didn't think that I would ever really own this series, but Mel has been reading through them, and I just feel like I gotta give it a shot. So it is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Hey, hi, really quick, announcement video is coming. But me, Steph, Jody, and Molly have decided to do a Throne of Glass read-along next year, starting in January. So an official announcement video is coming, but right now just kind of wanted to let you know that it's a thing, and it's happening. And okay, yeah, stay tuned for that. Okay, bye. And the catchphrase of it says, "Two men love her, the whole land fears her, only she can save them all." This last book I got purely because the sequel of it just came out this year, and that is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I haven't seen the movie or anything. I just know that a lot of people love this book. I think it's like a dystopian video game technology book. Is that accurate? I don't know, but it's one that is like super popular. A lot of people have read it, and I mean, it does sound interesting. So I think that this will probably be a book that I will read if I get a certain prompt in a TBR game. Oh shoot. There is 3 more books. This one's quick, okay? I didn't see these sitting down. Juno was laying next to them, and they blended in with her little floofy self. But this is the box set of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I do think that the premise of the series sounds interesting, and I wanted to pick it up and give it a shot, but the old covers, can I just I'm gonna put a picture right here. So bad. Like, I refused to buy these covers. I just couldn't do it. So when I saw that they were coming out with new covers of the series, I kind of just like jumped on it. I was like, yeah, sure. Those are at least a little bit better than the other ones, you know? Like, I still am not like crazy about them, but I don't hate them as much as the old ones. So I would much rather have these on my shelf, and at least the spines look somewhat, you know, aesthetic. But with Daughter of Smoke and Bone, this one says, "Once upon a time, an angel and a devil fell in love. It did not end well." So I mean, it sounds interesting, and I definitely wanted to at least give it a shot. If I end up not liking it, then I will probably gift these to someone who wants them. But in the meantime, I am excited to try it out. That's it. That's all I got. I mean, there's more. I got 10 other books, but those are for another themed reading vlog to come in a little bit. And yeah, so if you've made it this far in the video, leave the worm emoji down below, because I can do what I want and I choose the worm. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit, taking time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe down below, like the video. I appreciate your support, and as always, be kind to one another and happy reading.